Hello, as we get into Unit 2, I want to reframe the class, go back to the beginning where I shared this Kenneth Burke quote. Um, right now, we're talking about listening to the conversation, mapping the conversation. This is the academic conversation, the great conversation that Kenneth Burke is talking about. Imagine that you enter a parlor. You come late. When you arrive, others have long preceded you, and they are engaged in a heated discussion, a discussion too heated for them to pause and tell you exactly what it is about. In fact, the discussion had already begun long before any of them got there, so that no one present is qualified to retrace for you all the steps that had gone before. You listen for a while until you decide you've caught the tenor of the argument. That is where we are. We are mapping the conversations. We are listening to the other people who are talking in this conversation. For projects 3 and 4, you should not, I repeat, you should not have any of your own personal opinion in your project. Rather, I want you to pretend like you're in that parlor, you're standing and you're listening. You're not saying anything at this point. And the way that I like to visualize projects 4 and 3, because remember, you need to read the assignment guidelines in that order, 4 and then 3. And this is the reason why, because 3 is going to help you build project 4. So this is kind of how I like to envision project 4. You have your issue at the center, and then you have 5 stakeholders that are connected to your issue. These are going to be the people that you listen to for the Mapping the Conversations essay. These are going to be people that have a stake in the conversation. They care, they have a perspective, they have a view, and they have something that informs that view. And so this is what you're going to do with project 4. You're going to map the conversation and see where all these stakeholders agree or disagree with one another. But before we get to project 4, we're going to do project 3, which is our stakeholder analysis. And in the stakeholder analysis, you're going to focus on one single stakeholder. So you notice how this section is right over one stakeholder. So what you're going to do is you're going to find 4 high quality sources that relate to your first stakeholder. Make sure at least 2 of them are primary sources. Primary sources means that it comes from the stakeholder's perspective. So this could be a tweet, it can be a website, it can be an extended interview that you find on YouTube, but it needs to be primary. And then with those 4 sources, you're going to provide a synthesis paragraph. So you'll read, watch, listen, whatever, to 4 primary or 4 sources about that stakeholder or from that stakeholder's perspective. And you'll draw all that information together to tell us, how does your stakeholder view the issue? What's important to them? What values motivate them? And of course, you need to include your 4 citations for the sources you use to create your synthesis paragraph. And then last but not least, you're going to choose one of your primary sources and create an analysis paragraph for that. The assignment guidelines, you can find these on Blackboard, but they have a great, they have the 3 things that you need for this project. And then they also have, the list has questions that you can ask as you're writing your synthesis paragraph and as you're writing your analysis paragraph. So make sure you look at that. The way that this will look practically is you'll have one paragraph that's synthesizing your sources. Notice you need to be using your parenthetical citation to show which 4 sources you're drawing that information from. You will include the MLA citation for your 4 sources, and then you will analyze one primary source, and that's it. It's pretty easy going. So some things to remember as you're writing your stakeholder analysis. A synthesis is going to draw on all 4 of your sources. So make sure you do not rely too heavily on one source. Otherwise, that is called a summary and will not count towards your synthesis paragraph. Be sure to include at least one primary and one secondary source, and then analyze the primary source in a separate paragraph. As you research, I want to include some researching tips. Do not use Wikipedia as a source. You all know this, but just to state it again. However, you can use it as a launching off point. If you don't know a lot about your topic, or if you don't even know where to begin when it comes to seeking out stakeholders in a conversation, sometimes Wikipedia can be a really good source. I will include a couple of videos. I believe John Green has a really good crash course video on Wikipedia if you would like to go watch that. And of course, there's this video here that's linked. You won't be able to see the link in the video. The TTU library also has research guides on any given topic that are going to be really useful to help you figure out what you're doing with your topic. And then if you're not sure if a source that you're using is biased or not, I highly recommend the Adfontes Media Bias Chart. Um, Primary sources inherently are biased. Uh, However, if you're looking for a solid secondary source, this chart is going to be really helpful in figuring that out. I tend to recommend only using sources that are in the top green box because they're generally going to be the least biased. And of course, it's an interactive chart. So if your source is not on this chart, then you can go to their website, type in your source, and see if they have any information on it. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to stop and go and research a potential source about your first stakeholder. And then I want you to create a MLA citation for this source. I do recommend, you can't see this Prezi, but Laura Randazzo, you see her name on the bottom. She has some really good videos on YouTube that show you how to create an MLA citation. And of course, you can always go to the MLA Association website to see how to create a citation there. Purdue OWL also has some great resources. And some final notes that I want to make as you are analyzing your sources and reading them. I want you to talk about some tips for close reading. So first thing first, I always recommend to read with a pen. As this is an online class, you're likely reading on your laptop. Have your highlighter function ready. I have a little pen that comes with my laptop that I like to use. There's a connection that you just make between your hand and your head whenever you're reading. So read with a pen, and the first thing you want to try to figure out is what is the main topic. So if you're doing your issue on the stray population in Lubbock, stray animals in Lubbock, then that's going to be the main topic. And then what you want to do once you have that main topic, you want to find the main point. What point are they making about the stray population in Lubbock? Is it too much? Do we need to do something about it? I don't know. And then once you find the main point, you can find their supporting points. Okay, so the main point is going to be overall, what are they saying about your issue? And then the supporting points are going to be any evidence or propositions they make about that issue. This can be anecdotes, statistics, etc. Pay attention to the structure of your source. Do they have an intro, conclusion? What sources are they drawing on? And then, of course, research the author, the media source, and the timing of the article. Is it a relevant article or not? The rhetorical situation is going to help you determine if something is relevant or not. Of course, you remember from 1301 that the rhetorical situation is the relationship between the writer, the audience, and whatever subject they're talking about. And the text is going to be that medium that it's conveyed through. That text could be a book, it could be an article, it could be a tweet, it could be a YouTube video. And then, of course, the context is anything that is surrounding that issue about maybe current events that are happening at the time that that media was produced. I hope this helps you as you start working on your project 3 and 4. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. As always, I'm here for you.